start by polishing your working electrode. It will come in a vial that looks like this. GC indicates this is a glassy carbon electrode, so you can set this aside. This is the electrode itself. This is the brass tip where you'll make contact with the alligator clip. This is the O-ring that will allow it to sit inside of a cap. You gently twist this off, and at the tip you'll expose the very shiny polished surface. That's the working area of the working electrode. To polish this, you'll need the polishing pad like this, and you will sprinkle a little bit of the provided polish powder, the 0.03 micron powder, and then just very gently wet the surface, and then gently, don't press hard, do figure 8 motions over the wetted polishing area for 30 seconds. Then you'll take and rinse the surface of this into a waste beaker or directly into the sink. That'll remove the excess polishing paste before then filling up this rinse vial. It says wash on it, fill with DI water, and as a hole to accommodate your electrode. So you'll position your electrode inside of here so it's submerged but not touching the bottom, and then you'll insert this into the sonicator and sonicate for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. Sonicator looks like this, so you will clamp your DI water filled rinse solution with your electrode directly here. It should just barely touch the surface of the water, and then you will turn this dial and you'll allow that to proceed for 30 to 60 seconds. Leave the electrode stored within this water solution until you're ready to use it. You will rinse it with acetonitrile just before installing into your cell, and then wipe the cell body but not the polished tip with a Kim wipe. The counter electrode is a piece of platinum. It's very expensive and very delicate. Notice this is platinum foil. I can very easily bend this. If you bend this too much, it'll just break off. This is several $100s, so be very, very careful when handling these. So these are homemade. They're glass body. You can see the copper wire that's soldered directly to the inside, and then this is sealed. So these will come inside of these tubes to protect the tip. They may look like a foil, they may be a wire or a coil. You'll connect your alligator clip of your cell here, and then this end will be submerged in the solution. To clean this, just very gently rinse the body of the electrode in case there's any dried salts and the platinum itself, and then wipe away very carefully any of this excess water. Don't push this to bend it, just dab it to absorb. And then you'll need to flame polish it with this butane torch. So you'll gently open this just a little bit till you hear the gas. Open the flame, and then this is a really crucial part you want to be careful with. So you'll very carefully insert just the tip of your electrode into the flame, being careful not to expose the glass. See, it'll become red hot, and then you're done. The cleaned counter electrode can then just sit on a clean Kim wipe until it's ready to be assembled into the cell. The final electrode that you'll need to clean is your reference electrode, and it will come stored like this. This is the most delicate. You don't want to expose the tip of this electrode to air for more than 10 seconds, otherwise it'll dry out. And so it's parafilmed here. That's how you'll want to store it. So you'll remove the parafilm, and once you remove the parafilm, you'll be able to remove the electrode from the storage solution. It's kind of like a pH electrode. It always needs to be submerged. You can pull this out. Then you want to grab a waste beaker, just a small one, and then this acetonitrile for wash. Uncap this, and then you'll wash by just dribbling the acetonitrile over the surface, and then you'll use a Kim wipe to just dry the body, taking care not to touch the tip. This doesn't need to be exposed for more than 10 seconds, so then you'll immediately submerge this in your cell. Once you're done with this, you'll clean it the same way and then resubmerge it back in here so that it never dries out. Make sure that it's a tight fit and that you parafilm it when you're done using it. So your cell setup should look something like this. The key parts here are that you have a lab jack, you have your glass cell, which may just be a 10 milliliter beaker, you have a cap, this may be Teflon or aluminum. This is what will hold your electrodes. and you have a glass Pasteur pipette that is connected to a nitrogen gas line. So this pipette is breakable, so you want to be careful. It's inserted through the smallest hole here, and then it protrudes from the bottom. So the idea is we can load up the cell with roughly 5 milliliters of solution. We'll dispense that with a Pasteur pipette until it's roughly halfway filled. We will position our electrodes in the cap, and then we can raise our solution so that we don't have to move our assembly of electrodes here, and then we can connect all of the alligator clips to the individual electrodes so that they connect to the power supply, which will control our system. So before putting our electrodes into the cap, we'll want to load our solution here and then degas the solution with our nitrogen line. So fill this up with the Pasteur roughly halfway, and then raise the lab jack so that this is submerged. We're looking for 1 to 2 bubbles per second as the rate. Be careful to very, very slowly open the valve so that you don't accidentally release too much nitrogen that you blast out all of the solvent. So this is a reasonable rate to bubble. Do this for 5 to 10 minutes while you're assembling and cleaning your electrodes. Okay, now I've installed all 3 of my electrodes here. I want to install them such that they're all at roughly the same level and they're halfway into the electrolyte solution. Notice I'm still bubbling the nitrogen. Once everything is in solution and none of the metal is touching or short-circuiting, then I want to carefully raise this pipette straight out so that we're no longer bubbling, but there's a blanket of nitrogen gas over the surface, and we're going to leave it like that during our experiment. Now we need to connect the alligator clips from the potentiostat to the electrode, and we're going to always start with the white electrode, and we're going to connect that to our reference electrode here, and then the other 2 don't matter, and we're always going to end and remove that same electrode last. So we'll have all 3 electrodes connected, and then we want to do 2 major checks. The first is that none of the exposed metal from any of the wiring external to the cell, including the alligator clips, are touching, otherwise that will lead to a short circuit. And so this is good. There's nothing actually touching in space. And then we'll do the same thing but on the inside of the cell. So we'll ensure that none of the metal is touching. It's okay if the plastic or the glass touches each other because those aren't metal, so they're not short-circuiting. And then we want to make sure that all the electrodes are actually submerged in the cell and not touching the bottom of the glass. We can always adjust the height by adjusting our lab jack.